military junta's leader, Assimi Goïta, has appointed himself as the defense minister of the country. What's the implication of this long strategy of the military leadership in Mali on West Africa's security? We pay attention closely to the developments there, plus hear from some analysts who say that the growing tendency of dictatorship in Mali is not healthy for West Africa's democracy. We'll get you the very latest on that. First, though, we give you a wrap of some of the major stories making the headlines across Africa.
A drone launched by Sudan's paramilitary forces targeted the airport in the capital of Khartoum, but was shot down before it could hit the target. According to airport officials, Sudan accused Ethiopia of being involved in the assault. It was the latest attack in the deadly war in Sudan, now in its fourth year, which has pushed the country to the brink. The attack came just days after the paramilitary rapid support forces killed at least 5 people in a drone attack that hit a civilian vehicle on the outskirts of Khartoum on Saturday. The airport official said the drone launched on Monday was shot by Sudan's air defenses as it approached the airport from the south and caused no damage or casualties. The military government confirmed the drone was intercepted. A military official told the Associated Press the drone was launched from a neighboring country but provided no further details. Sudan eventually recalled its ambassador to Ethiopia, accusing the country of involvement in the attack targeting Khartoum's airport. The Sudanese military accused the paramilitary rapid support forces in March of launching drone attacks from inside Ethiopian territory, the first public allegation of Ethiopian involvement in the conflict. Muhyiddin Salem, the Sudanese army-aligned government's foreign minister, announced the recall of Sudan's ambassador to Ethiopia for consultations regarding the UAE-Ethiopia drone attack on Khartoum International Airport on Monday. A South African police captain is being praised for extraordinary bravery after he was lowered into a crocodile-infested river to help recover human remains during a high-risk operation. Captain Johan Poti Polgeta was hoisted down alone into the Komati River in Mpumalanga province to secure a euthanized crocodile so it could be lifted out by the helicopter. Police say the maneuver allowed forensic teams to safely retrieve the remains of a suspected missing person. Body parts found inside the crocodile's intestines have been sent for DNA analysis to confirm the victim's identity. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the opposition is sharply criticizing what it calls a two-tier democracy after a pro-UDPS march in Kinshasa reignited debate over United States sanctions and a possible constitutional reform that could open the door to a third term for President Felix Tshisekedi. The opposition accuses authorities of systematically repressing opposition protests. Prince Epenga, a spokesperson for the Lamuka opposition coalition, says their marches are routinely met with violence. The UDPS welcomed recent U.S. sanctions against former President Joseph Kabila, but the opposition warns the move will not resolve Congo's internal crisis and could even worsen it. Epenga argues that if Tshisekedi pushes ahead with changing the rules of the democratic game, he too could face international consequences. Mali's military leader, General Assimi Goïta, has taken over as defense minister after the officer who previously held the post was killed in a wave of surprise attacks. The West African country remains in a security crisis more than a week after an alliance of jihadists and separatist rebels launched their nationwide raids. During the offensive, Defense Minister Sadio Kamara was killed in an apparent suicide track bombing on his residence near the capital Bamako. The decree read on state television on Monday. Goïta would replace Kamara as defense minister. He will be assisted by Army Chief of Staff General Omar Diarra, who has been appointed minister delegate. Goïta's decision to simultaneously lead the presidency and the defense ministry is likely to be interpreted as an attempt to consolidate power at a time when his authority appears to be threatened.
In Mali, and bring in Austin Agbe, who is a democracy advocacy officer at the West Africa Democratic Solidarity Group. Wademos, thank you so much, sir, for joining us. That's the latest we're hearing from Mali, and you've just heard that now Assimi Goïta is assuming that leader or leadership role as the Mali's defense minister. He'll be playing that dual role after all. What's your reaction to this latest development?
Okay, thank you very much. First is that the president or the head of state of a country is actually in charge of everything, whether it's the defense or agriculture or mineral resources, whatever. But because he cannot be in all the positions at the same time, he appoints individuals to help manage those areas or those portfolios. In this case, we are talking about defense. He appointed Camara to superintend over the defense of Mali because he would have trusted him because defense is one of the most critical in a military regime. So assuming office, I don't really call him that he's assuming his own role. It's his role. He's a president. That's why, for instance, elsewhere they say the president is a commander and GOC, commander-in-chief, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, which means you are both president and head of the military. You then appoint individuals to superintend at ministerial level or the chief of army staff, the chief of naval staff, as the case may be. But assuming, because the way it is being framed, it looks as if he's assuming his own role. That's the way I see it. However, I do agree that because he sees the breach with the death of Camara, he would have suspected some breach within the security architecture. And that is why he will not trust any individuals in a hurry. He will want to consolidate. Now he's consolidating his power as defense and then politically, which of course the army chief is still subservient under the minister, which is himself. I recall many years ago, the Nigerian president used to be the minister of petroleum. Everybody was shouting that why would a president be minister of petroleum? Because that's the interest of the president. He sees the ministry of petroleum as is maybe the wealth of the country. And even currently, I think President Tinubu actually continued with that format. In the last administration, former President Buhari, now late, was Minister of Petroleum. It's a trust issue. It doesn't know who to fit into that position. And don't forget that Camara, now late, was strategic to inviting Russia into the region and supporting the Guaita's regime. And he is so close an ally to him, and he doesn't know anybody right now to pick. And I think it may be his best strategy. You can look at it from a political and security dynamics. I do think that whether I like it or not is about consolidation.
Okay, the point now about how long can these military rulers lead in uniform? Because that's been the concern by your likes, civil society groups that are asking, the military leadership in the AES region to go back to the ways of democracy.
Well, for me, I truly think that Mali is at the verge of collapse. Right now, if Mali survives this time, that would be great for them. We know that the forces put together by the three Sahel states did some air bombardment, I think yesterday or so. We were able to take out some militia group, the insurgent group. But still, the citizens are not feeling the impact of the military security they promised some 6 years ago. And that it will get to a point, there will be high level of resistance from citizens, because part of the reason for taking over power was to provide security. And as we speak today, security is not there, to the point of killing a defense minister through the suicidal bomb. Suicidal action. It's weird. You can call it breach in security, whatever you need to call it. We have seen pictorials of where, I think it was a Gedan, where the militia group has already taken over government palaces and all of that. So the last place to fall is Bamako. And once Bamako falls, it is done, it's a done deal. And that is why I think that it is time and right for the Guaita's government to approach ECOWAS and return back to the fold and quickly re-energize the process of democracy.
Do you feel, and just based on that point, do you feel that ECOWAS is wary of continuing talks with AES leaders?
This year, ECOWAS set up another level of mediation and appointed a chief mediator. Lassana from Sierra Leone appointed the chief mediator to try to have conversation around security cooperation, trade cooperation.
Right.
That means that ECOWAS is still interested in these three Sahel states. ECOWAS has not given up at all. Only recently, ECOWAS has to do some send for most of these Sahel state citizens who still work in ECOWAS. Just this year, I mean, about last month or thereabout. I know it was very hard for ECOWAS to take that decision. However, you can't continue to have those staffers in place while your government is no longer providing any form of support, and your government has indeed exited fully and has moved all the architecture away from ECOWAS structure. I think it was only right for ECOWAS to do that send for, because it will later become a conversation that why is it that you still have these Sahel state staffers in place, whereas they are not contributing. The contributors don't have those positions. You can't use the salary of you can't use Ghana salary, Ghana resources to pay another country who is not contributing, or Nigerian resources to pay another country who is not contributing to that pause. And I think that ECOWAS is still open with the appointment of the chief mediator. ECOWAS is still hoping that one day the Sahel state will return. I have said before that it is time for ECOWAS to move into Mali and support the Malian people, not necessarily the Malian government. Support the Malian people, because one of the problems with ECOWAS or with citizens' engagement with ECOWAS is that citizens of West Africa do not know the relevance of ECOWAS. And I think this is one of the best opportunities. ECOWAS move in with your standby force, dislodge this insurgent group, and restore confidence in Mali and get back conversation. And let the Malian government see what has happened. Let the Malian people see what has happened. With that, you'll see a push. There'll be citizens' engagement to maybe begin to force the government to move towards democracy.
All right, then we'll leave the conversation here for now. Grateful for your time, Austin Aigbe, Democracy Advocacy Officer at WADEMOS. Well, we've also been engaging Farouk Al-Wahab, an international security consultant, who's been painting a picture for us on the security situation in Mali. When it all started, and of course breaking down the implication of this whole AES movement on West Africa, you were certain that, of course, there might be some few breaches in terms of their security situation there. Are you first of all surprised about what happened over the weekend?
Well, I won't say I'm surprised. It's something that is prevalent in the country, Mali, over some 20 years, when the Tuareg forces all moved from Libya and then came to the northern part of Mali. I would say that on the West African belt, that is a country that houses about 17 active rebel groups. 17 active rebel groups. They have rebel groups, terrorism, jihadism, Al-Qaeda, Daesh, ISIS, separatist groups, separatist movement, and all kind of insurgencies, and then separatist movements.
As many as 17?
17 active. Don't forget that Boko Haram was a product of one of those. The Jenim, for instance, that is where Mohammed Yusuf, Mustafa Bonkanu, and all the Boko Haram boys who had gone there to learn Quran or to study Quran, that is where they all emanated from. So if you look at it from the time even Boko Haram had gone there, that radical jihadism group was already there in 2002 when Boko Haram was formed originally in Mali and exported to Nigeria. So it's something that is very difficult to deal with the situation of Mali. Here is the case that the France, that's supposed all being the colonial masters, that intended on show a kind of spirit to resolve the issue, happened not to be the case because they themselves were meddling with the groups, because it's very difficult in another breath that we have Al-Qaeda, and then we have ISIS, that is the Daesh, and then you have Jenim, and then you have Ansawad, you have Ansadine, and you have a lot of them. If you box and put all of them together, Some operate jihadism, some operate terrorism, some are rebel-related group, some are Islamic jihad-related group, and then different groups scattered around. But then interestingly, it's all within the same region. And what is the region? The Timbuktu region of the northern, the Kidal side, and the Negao. Don't forget that the whole group originates back to the southern part of Libya, which is Gat. And then it originates back to the southern part of also Algeria, and then Libya as well. So the Tuareg group that were operating in Libya, they moved on the Haga Plateau. And the Haga Plateau, where the Mali borders with Niger, that is the Zendere side, Arlit, Asamaka, those regions, all under the south, leading to Mali side of the eastern north, leading to also the Niger north, leading to the southern Algeria, the Haga Plateau, and then far out to the Libya.
So for you, all of this is a spillover effect?
It's a spillover effect that had existed. Ideally, the Tuareg group were actually assigned in the Sabah region, where they were with Gaddafi. So after the fall of Muammar al-Gaddafi, these Tuaregs were Malians. These Tuaregs were Nigerians from Niger, and these Tuaregs, some of the southern part of Algeria, but they all moved together, and then they went to house themselves in a place where they feel that, okay, that is where we can house and then feel.
Looking at last Saturday's activities, many are unable to tell the motive.
Yes, the motive is that. Don't forget that Assimi Goïta, he has been a French legionnaire. French legionnaire means that when the France government and France troops had joined the NATO and went to Afghanistan, Assimi Goïta, Mamadou Doumbouya of Guinea today, Ibrahim Traoré's boss, Damiba, and then also Chiani of Niger, all of them went with the French to Afghanistan to fight for French government. When they returned, Assimi Goïta himself in 2020 was heading a unit for the French, which seems to be to solving the problem of this Al-Qaeda and all these scattered groups. But then he later found that that was not the motive. The motive was rather different, which the French government, also called the French government, they were rather interested in the minerals. And then he also found out that no, the central government, Conakry's government at that time, was not doing enough to resolve the issue, allowing the Malian army to fight, out of which that he, Assimi Goïta, if you remember, he came for the first time, spent only some 38 days in the 2020, and then gave back power to Bandao. Bandao did about 200 and something days, and then he came back again because he realized that the central government was something with the government of the French were not solving the issues, and there was an establishment that all these Al-Qaeda groups, etc., they are proxies to some extent. These are the extensions of those operating in Niger. These were the extensions operating in Burkina Faso. And then also the base was Mali. And the group insist that, yes, you are part of us. You know what we're doing. Some of them maybe we did with you. Now we want to come and take over power. Let us not forget that there is a foreign interest. There is a French interest. Because Assimi Goïta, as you see it, he has departed and moved away from the French.
But is that not questionable when we say there's still a French interest in all of that?
Well, it is the case. Anybody who says arguably that the French, no, it is the case. Because look at Mali's resources in the north, Mali's resources, Niger's resources, Burkina, called the Sahel regions of the three. These were countries that French has done a lot, and let me call it, milked a lot with them. So seeing Mali moving out, calling the bluff of the French, and then also Burkina isolating them, and then Niger, Chiani also isolating them. There's a kind of economic heat on French, where the French governance and the politicians are actually on the neck of Macron, that all this happened. And for that matter, French is having a way to establish. Don't forget that the Western world have played this kind of tricks. I'm sorry, the US and the UKs and all that, they play the same tricks. That wherever there's at a point where rebel will serve their interests, they are with them. Where separatist group will serve their interests, they are with them. But then at the same time, they have condemned one way or the other all these insurgents group. But you realize that how can Al-Qaeda, which is one of the most wanted group of the world, but look at where they are today. They are being praised in where? In Syria. They are being praised in other places where they serve the interests of their colonial master sponsoring them. That is what the issue is. So Assimi Goita last Saturday or this weekend's uprising against him is nothing home just only to replace his government and bring somebody that will be d'accord, who will bring back the government of Mali to the French fold.
Why are you not looking within? Because the AES itself, the structure is being questioned as to what the motive is. How long are they going to be in office? Could that not be part of the challenges?
Let me just tell you, the existence of Mali post-independent 1960, it is only in one of the African countries, together with Guinea, Conakry, that have had military regime longer than any of them. We have had 13 head of states post-independence in 1957. Mali have had 7 leaders. But to count the 7 leaders, military regime took more than 40 years in different times of Mali. So it's a country it's actually involved.
So they're used to?
They are used to.
Military leaders?
Yes, of course, because Modibo Keita, who was the founder of the post-independent first president, he did 8 years. Musa Traore removed him and stayed 22 years in power. And then also Amadou Toumani also removed him and stayed in power before giving power to Alpha Konari. Konari did 10 years. Toumani came back again with an independent, did 10 years. After Toumani, they didn't allow him to spend even his 10 years. At the tail end, imagine you're going for 5 years, 2 tenure. But even some few days or some few months to the 10 years, they didn't. So Sonogo came and removed him. When Sonogo removed him, then the Akunda also came and removed him again. Before Keita also came. Keita did his 10 years. He didn't finish his 10 years. Then Assimi Goita also came to remove him. So look at the consistency of their coup d'etats and how it is being staged. Because we don't pay much attention because it's the French. But when you go to the analysis analytically, it tells you that Mali coup d'etat, not different from Guinea-Conakry, not different from Niger, Burkina to some extent have also featured back-to-back coup d'etat more than any other country, also in the West African belt. So it's something that related to them. So it's just a matter of either the structures are good or not. There's a justification that they've had a consistent, let's say, a normal civilian government. But even civilian government, who at all cannot wait for civilian government that has gone for 10 years, going for 10 years. You've done the first 5 years. Then the second 5 years, you are left with 2 months. Does that warrant a coup d'etat? At least one could have waited for the 2 months. And then maybe you're juggling or whatever. But all these things happen not to be.
Do you believe he's still alive?
Who?
Assimi Goita?
Well, you know, it is 50-50 affair.
That's the question.
Yeah, but the point is that you should understand that modern days, security, etc., one is able to coordinate intelligence, coordinate cyber, coordinate all kind of forces to locate where he is. So for him to come out, because they want to make sure that Bamako itself is okay. But as for the Koloba Palace, like the Golden Jubilee here, he's not at the Koloba. But you should also understand that he has been a legionnaire. He's a fighter. He's a guerrilla fighter. So he knows that the boys are around. And this jihadist group, surprisingly, it was only one group that came to Bamako. Per what happened over the weekend.
So many splinter groups?
Yeah, the Janim came. The Jamaat, Nasser, Islam, Wal Islami, Muslimi, they came. But they come with branches. And Sawat also went in. And Sardin definitely also went in. Then the militant groups also. But don't forget that the central government army also have some militant groups that fight on behalf of this. So how were they able to break? And from Gao, Kidal, Timbuktu, all the way to Bamako, you're talking about thousands of kilometers. How were they built? How did they manage to get to Bamako enclave? And all of them moving at the same time. So it's a bit of a concern. There was a security breach and they were able to kill the defense minister. And for that matter, yes, they whisked him away. Certainly, I know he's unhurt. Certainly, he's not killed. He's not injured. However, he doesn't want to. And don't forget that.
His location.
Yeah, because the Russians are advising him. The Russians are advising him because he's relying heavily on the Russian security guards. These were things that Gaddafi didn't do, and the West were able to kill him. This is something that Samura Machel didn't do. Russians will tell you what is actually coming up, so move or stop. So I'm looking at the situation that he's just in a hide. cooling off this pace while the country is secured, while the Kolobak Palace is secured, while the government is stabilized still, and then he will emerge. But for now, he wouldn't.
Let's speak to their accountability and their failure to hand over power to civilian rule.
Yes.
Why are they simply not doing that? They seem to be overstaying. I don't know if that's a fair way of describing what's happening. You hear from the likes of Burkina Faso,
yes.
Ibrahim Traore saying, well, forget about democracy.
Yes. To some extent, you would understand them to some extent. We're talking about democracy. Democracy is what? Democracy to us in Ghana and other places is to have your finger very clean, John Q, no fight, go and vote, and then you walk home. Now, has it served all the time the purposes which we repose the trust? Sometimes to some extent not. I'm not defending them, I'm not praising them, but sometimes there are instances where some of these coup d'etats, they've stabilized countries, they've stabilized system. Let's say in the case of Gaddafi, one would say that he was a dictator. Gaddafi would say that he was not a dictator. He was a person making sure that his government or his country was well managed, and he did that. Post-Gaddafi, is Libya having government? No. So as a greatest issue, don't forget that there were two declarations. Pediasi Declaration 1. That forced him to give power after the 30 days. Pediasi Declaration 2, with Nana Addo and then other foreign ministers, that is what turned the ECOWAS table that we've suspended you. It was at the same time they suspended the Guinea, and then also, yes, they also suspended Chiani, they also suspended what was the name, Traore. Now, they've overstayed in power, but the point is that the country must to some extent be stable. Mm-hmm. The reality also is that he feels, being a legionnaire and be with the French, he knows the intentions and what is happening in the north. Because when they went to the north, the whole huge minerals that Mali has is all found in the north. Why is the north that the French had gone there and they wanted to cool off the pace, cool off peace, and find out solutions to the rebel activities? Yes. But French couldn't do it. So he is saying that, okay, I'll stay in power, and make sure that I stabilize the system. That is what calls for, of course, of opposition. But then, of course, there's a country noted and known.
Don't you feel that they are losing legitimacy now?
It is true. You may say so. But then don't forget about anybody who calls himself the head of state and holding the power. It's not easy for them to give power. It is something very normal all over. Even the Western Hemisphere, there were coup d'etats in Romania, etc. There have been coup d'etats in the past. European countries, a lot of them have the military government. That lasted for a little bit longer. What about the Latin America, the Central America, Peru and others? They all have military coup d'etats. So it is not necessarily handing over power is the issue. The handing over power and how the country would also run from there. So legitimacy.
That's the bigger concern.
That is the concern.
But the missing link is ECOWAS now. If they were in the fold, some stability would have been guaranteed, or you've lost hope in
listen,
ECOWAS now.
Listen. Before these three countries called the Sahel region went out from ECOWAS, disjoint themselves from ECOWAS. Tell me, on the West African belt, which of the countries had ECOWAS been in support when they were in crisis? ECOWAS had operated biasly, in a very biased way. That is why some of the members, like Mauritania, they left the ECOWAS region. Yeah. What am I saying?
That they want in.
What am I saying? Yeah. Because during the time that Ghana, we had President Gerald Rawlings as a military leader in the 90s, wearing uniform. We had also a certain IBB, Ibrahim Babangida, subsequently later Abacha, and all this. They were all wearing military uniform. At the time, every West African country, about 10 of the leaders were all what? Wearing military uniform, you remember, leading up to the early 2000s. What really happened? What happened was that, whereas we surcharged, whereas we accused Mauritania leaders as having plotted coup, and then asked them to exit, or we suspended them for ECOWAS. What about Ghana president? What about Nigerian head of state? They all wearing military uniform. What about Benin? They were wearing military uniform. So one will say that ECOWAS, not different from African Union, and not for that matter, not different from even UN. They choose and pick selective justice choices. And when it happens like that, the leaders now sit up, like the Sahel boys are doing, that we don't care about ECOWAS. It hasn't had any effect on them. Neither had ECOWAS also benefited. Rather, ECOWAS would have, in a way, tried to close on them and invite them quietly. We went the hardest way, we send you off. But let me ask you, ECOWAS member states of the 15.
Yeah.
Tell me, is Ghana owing Togo $1? Answer is no. Is Ghana owing Nigeria $1? Answer is no. So the economic, political, and then the cross-border, and then the citizens and all that put everything together. Tell me which of the benefits that has given to you as far as ECOWAS, apart from the diplomatic speeches. The declaration since 1975 by ECOWAS, some of them had not been signed today. How do I go to Togo, buy small items of goods? We have
and freely move, yeah.
And then you will have to be Ghana. Even Ghana here, you go through it, how many stops? So ECOWAS itself is a union, is an association which has lost its bite. Therefore, nobody, I'm sorry to say, the member countries do not, because everybody is doing its own work. Ghana, for some 3 years ago, was looking for $3 billion, correct?
Yeah. Under
His Excellency Nana Addo's regime. We went to IMF for $3 billion. So tell me, Nigeria Lagos state budget is more than $3 billion. Côte d'Ivoire budget. So 15 member countries, they could not sit and say that Ghana was in crisis. So we're raising $3 billion. So where is the ECOWAS that we claim that we join in?
Whatever the case, accountability should be key. And I keep harping on that because we just don't know where all of this is ending, do we?
We do not have any idea, because the ECOWAS system itself is polarized. If it were to be a union, an organization, an association that subscribes itself to its own mandate and the protocols that actually originated or created the ECOWAS, this is an issue that they could sit down.
But the Sahelians are not doing any different, are they? They're now turning to the east. I recall the Commissioner for Political Affairs at ECOWAS, Ambassador Fatal, talking about the fact that they're dealing with Russian intelligence now. So they're turning to just an alternative. They're not doing anything different.
Listen to me.
Are they that independent as they
It is neither here nor there. Where any country today is a global world.
Yeah.
Either Ghana decides to follow China, Ghana decides to follow Taiwan, or Ghana decides to support America, or decides to follow UK. It is not the case. It's that where you seek your comfort. It's a global world now. It's very open, because for them, the allegiance and the alliance with the French, if they claim that it has not supported, it has not helped them, what is the issue of they've gone to the east? What is the meaning of the east? Geographically, or what are you referring to?
Yeah, but whatever the case, they're turning to another superpower.
That's it. So that is where they...
Yes, why blame, pick and choose, using your word, in terms of where they want to look now?
Well, they want to look at Russia.
And so you don't have any problem with that?
Well, for me, trust me, with my experience in international affairs, international relations, diplomacy, etc., it is very clear that he who finds comfort in any country, that's supposed to just go.
It's about your national interest.
Yes, it's about
it's just not personal interests as against national interest.
Well, the national interest is there, but the national interest is originated, is headed, and is moved by somebody. So you can talk about the presidential, the tenure, who is at the seat, and where he wants his political direction. Okay, even in our own system, we have the very plain democratic dispensation. But His Excellency the President decides. It's no more like before that UK tells Ghana to do everything it will do. His Excellency President Mama, he travels to the east. He goes to Russia. He goes to, sometimes it becomes a little bit a brush on the face of certain Western countries. But he could not be bothered. Why do we go to China for loans? How do we go to China for etc.? But when it comes to where they want to see their
we seem to have a problem.
Then we seem to. No, you can't do that, because even the Western countries have countries that where they also feel that they.
So they are free to go wherever they want.
It is. So it is the case.
And now they are free, except to say that they're posing a significant security challenge to us, isn't it?
To which countries?
Ghana, for instance.
Okay, Ghana is a border country, of course, to Burkina.
You don't buy the idea? Former President Nana Akufo-Addo has been on record telling the U.S. State Department that, look, that's what the guys are doing. They're bringing Russia closer and closer to us.
Let me tell you, if it's an issue of Russia, then post-independent, our first president, Dr. Nkrumah, he was closer to Russia. And today, you and I will so hail him as the best president ever. And in my view, yes, arguably, ever Ghana has had. Do you understand? He was with Romania, he was Vietnam, he was North Korea, he was Poland, he was all over to the east. Did he pose any other thing? Was he not able to do whatever he wanted to do? Yes, Nana Addo, that is also philosophy, ideology. politically, as a president, the direction of the MPP government, etc. It does not itself represent the destiny of Ghana that any Ghana president that comes should follow up. Let us not forget.
You don't feel President Mahama should be following that?
No, I don't expect. If he wants to, that is him. But I'm saying that I don't expect President Mahama just to follow the go-go. No.
If you have Wagner on your borders, what would you advise any head of state?
Wagner on our borders. There's one thing you should get to know, that Ghana is a free country. Ghana is a green belt as far as even the UN security system is concerned. Why? Because all the West African countries, Ghana is the only country that till today, post-independence, 68 years or 66 years, stand to be corrected, we don't have one single presence of any former president sitting in jail. We don't have any politician who is a fugitive, even though we've had criminal politicians, among us. They are still within Ghana here. All our former presidents are here. There's no politician in Ghana who is out the border trying to come in that the system is not permitting them. We've seen that all over Africa. What are we looking at? The 267,000 square kilometer total land of Ghana. Yeah. Tell me where we have one green, blue helmet from the UN or one green jacket. Can you tell me the security profile of this country to tell me that Ghana Police Service, national, yes, all the security companies in Ghana, let them come with the security profile. The red light, the green light, the yellow light alert, telling us that there is a forest in Ghana that you find people with. The only people that will find them hostile are the Galamseyers. Ghana forest is only tomatoes. Ghana forest is only plantain.
You're trivializing the issues now, isn't it?
No, I'm just trying to say that we don't have any alliance and allegiance. There's no terrorist group. That's what I'm trying to come at. We don't have any insurgents. We don't have any separatist group. We don't have any Al-Qaeda. We don't have any Jenim. We don't have Ansawad. We don't have Nsadid. We don't have any rebel.
But with what is happening now, you feel President Mahama should not be worried about?
He should not be worried because the terrorists and rebels, separatists, and all these extremists, they are not, stupid. They don't go to hostile places where they don't have a group backing them or a group that they relate to. So tell me, in Ghana here, do we have any? The only presence that we have is what? Alavanyo and Konya war that has lasted. Do you call this one war? So we don't have a problem. And we should not have that kind of fear. But we have to keep our intelligence alert. The problem that we have is intelligence gathering as against intelligence processing.
Ought to be very sharp.
Ghana process, we gather more intelligence, but our processing rate is very slow. That one is a concern. But to talk about general country and general security of Ghana, it's not that Lomé, I'm sorry. It's not that Benin. Lomé has quite a challenging political system without any cabinet till today. So in that case, in such a country, there's an issue. Burkina, you can say there's an issue. Guinea-Conakry, there's an issue. Chad, there's an issue. You can mention the countries on Somaliland, Eritrea, Djibouti, all these countries, but they have issues. South Uganda, Sudan, there's an issue. Tell me, we don't have anything since we departed from the revolution days, 32 years, from 1994. Up to 1992 till today, we've not had any uprising. We've not had any mass mail.
Yeah, but the expectation is that generally the president should be drawing the red line now for these countries.
Yes.
Because they're going too far, you agree?
They're going too far. Don't forget, the ECOWAS turned the tables of all the three countries. Ghana is the only country among the ECOWAS nation under the presidency with the President Mahama. He had appointed a special envoy.
Yeah, I get that, but the red line must come.
Well, the red line, yes.
Because do you think the president should trust all these individuals?
That's out of that. Out of that.
Because if you're giving them the blank check all the time,
yes,
they may take advantage of it.
They may talk. They cannot come and overthrow Ghana. Neither would they push their rebel spills over to Ghana. It is not possible. Ghana's security is very strong, okay? But then I'm saying that there is no link of any of this group on our soil, because during even John Rawlings 18 years rule, or 11 years or whatever, how many coup d'etats that was actually? Over 22 coup attempts. They couldn't succeed because in Ghana, our security is based on our what? Our two-land system. Not like the Côte d'Ivoire, not like Mali. Our two-land system prohibits individual having land. It's for the town, for the school, for the subjects, etc. Right. So if I go to my farm and I find people in military uniform, there is an gong, there's a problem. Then the people come to work, push them out. So Ghana cannot have that presence of any alienated kind of a group. So we shouldn't be that much worried. But then if it's global concern, if you tell me global concern, yes, it is. It's on our border. Nevertheless, Switzerland is there. Germany had been attacked back to back by terrorists. Holland had been attacked. France, how many times? But they are in the middle of Swiss. Why have people not have? Why have?
Yeah, I mean, geolocation, isn't it? It's an advantage to them. I don't see how you're breaking all of these borders.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
you can.
Yeah, obviously.
You can be in between.
Yeah, and still be safe.
And still be safe.
I see.
That is why I'm trying.
Are we not just being safe because of our language?
No, that language doesn't.
Yeah, because all francophone. And yeah, the language barrier could be.
If you want me to take you back to the history, why the English countries in West Africa were grouped, circulated by the French, circulated by the English and the French around it. It was what? A plan hatched by British and France. We don't have that time for it. Ghana borders with Cote d'Ivoire in the west, east with Togo, and then north with Burkina Faso. And then if you go to Sierra Leone, it's the same thing that's surrounded by the French. When you go to Nigeria, they don't have any English border, surrounded by the French. When you go to Cameroon, then the French. It was an agreement that was made between the British and English that we don't trust these people, and especially was Ghana.
The French and English, you mean?
You understand? Yes. So the language is not an issue. Now, is there any language that shows somebody how to shoot? No. If a rebel is operating, they don't care. Yeah, these are Torek, these are Fula boys, these are whatever. They don't care. It's not an issue.
Okay, let's close the chapter on this. So what's the outlook for us? Because this has become the highest sub-region with so many unpredictable terms of coup d'etat, military overthrows, and it will continue?
Well, difficult to say, but then I can say that of my country, because I'm a Ghanaian, and understand the security settings of this country. Ghana, to anybody, I must say it, we are very safe. Ghana is forever very safe. Coup d'etat is not possible, I can assure you, and you can't have the appetite to have the coup d'etat. One, you know it? Should I tell you? We don't have even those military bases where a coup could be hatched. A coup is not planned from a bedroom. It's planned normally from the military bases. Ghana military bases, Gonda Barras, call it. Ghana military bases, Kumasi 4BN. It's a Trotro station now. Ghana 2 Brigade, Trotro times there. Ghana, how do we call it? 5 battalion in Takrade. It is also people's residence house.
What are you suggesting?
I'm just trying to tell you that President Akufo, before President Rawlings left, President Akufo came. The surroundings, Chado, is the biggest residential area now. And they share border with the military. So let them stage a coup and jump into somebody's house. You don't see.
My goodness. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just telling you. Yeah. I'm just telling from intelligence point and then security point of view that our system itself, as you see it, even Tamale, we don't have that kind of appetite. And the military don't have that kind of appetite because we've advanced. We've advanced in politics. We've embraced diplomacy. How do we call it? Democracy. So Ghana had gone forward. We've stepped forward. Some countries, yes, they may, but I don't care to that extent. Maybe the spillover is when. Even Nigeria, they couldn't have a coup d'etat. You know Nigeria. Even now, they've understood it. Coupled with the fact that the middle class of these two countries and some of these countries have ballooned. Every security, watchman wants his or her daughter to go to Legon. So he will not risk his life. Every soldier, every police have their children schooling in Canada. He will not risk his life. So if you look at it from the middle class point of view and the understanding of how, and then coupled with our culture, coupled with our church, our religious settings, and then also our marriage settings, Ghana is the only country within the West Africa and Africa that embraces cross-tribal marriage. It's the highest on the whole continent. Highest on the whole continent. We marry Ashanti marry this in Blackbani. This go to parliament and bring the roll call. All parliamentarians there, go and count and check where their wives come from. Where are they? They are not from their hometown. We marry across. So we have United Nations kids, including you, including myself.
I see.
Tell me where your father comes from. Tell me where your mother comes from.
Yes.
And then if you look at it, so you cannot hurt Achim because your mother is Achim.
Because that's your family.
That's your family. Those countries are not like that. They have what is called straight lines, straight demarcations, and frontiers and barriers within the tribal settings. Look at Nigeria. We have the Hausa. They will not cross and go and marry maybe Igbo. We have Igbo will not marry Yoruba. Yoruba will not marry this. That was the straight lines. The same issue persisted. That was made the genocide of Rwanda, genocide of Sierra Leone, and because the tribes were not united. our system and our tribal setting is so much, so strong that you have to look at insecurity, all of them.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service. Please revalidate your account by texting your Ghana card number to 0500,000 247.
Hey, Abili, wabadim.
Madam, give me the numbers behind your ATM card. I'm calling from the head office.
An email was delivered across to our customers this morning.
Confirm if this is your bank account. 100,100,100.
Thanks for sending your bank card details.
Send the OTP now to avoid cancellation.
EcoBank will never call, email, send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Don't get played. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, please, I'm calling from Customer Experience Center.
Hi, it's me. The one you poke, sip, and hopefully love. I'm your small reminder that growing up doesn't mean growing out of me. Trends come and go, but you still reach for me. I'm not just a drink, I'm that little sip that reminds you life can still be sweet. Calipo fruit juice drink, making sweet memories. This advert is FDA approved.
Across Ghana, in communities big and small, ordinary people are doing extraordinary things. This is the Joy News Impact Makers Awards 2026, celebrating those who are changing lives, shaping futures, and building hope. From Bimbila in the northern region, Faith Jakpasu is transforming classrooms through innovation, inclusive learning, and life-changing initiatives for students, teachers, and vulnerable communities. From Aflao in the Volta region, Felix Akakbo is building schools, supporting students, and investing in the future of an entire community. In health, from Winneba in the central region, Amos Ando is turning his personal battle with sickle cell into a national movement for awareness, prevention, and policy change. From Nkwanta in the Oti region, Bless Lantam is delivering life-changing healthcare to hard-to-reach communities, even in the face of conflict. From Insawam Edwardri in the eastern region, Antonio Say is restoring mobility, dignity, and opportunity through prosthetics and outreach across Ghana. From Adenta in the Greater Accra region, Valerie Ajatia is empowering amputees with hope, rehabilitation, and the courage to rebuild their lives. From Anyanui and Noga in the Volta region, Reverend Christian Valeto is rescuing, treating, and reintegrating neglected mental health patients back into society. From Akuse in the eastern region, Alberta Aite is mentoring, educating, and empowering over 1,000 girls to dream beyond limitations. From Singabreku in the central region, Isabella Akwabwa fighting period poverty and equipping women and girls with skills for independence. In Wash, from Sirigu in the Upper East region, Dr. Anthony Akunzele is improving livelihoods through clean water, education, and economic opportunities for women. From Akache in the Volta region, Senyor Bomita is transforming communities through schools, clean water, healthcare access, and youth empowerment. And for the Corporate Partner Award from the Cape Coast Youth Development Association is empowering thousands of young people through education, skills training, and community development. These are not just finalists. These are change makers. They are nation builders. They are Ghana's true heroes. Joy News Impact Makers Awards, celebrating ordinary people making extraordinary impacts. Who takes this home?
The 2026 Joy News Impact Makers Awards is brought to you by Ghana CEO Summit, a decade of leadership impact. Labadi Beach Hotel, Ayuda, Ghana's #1 services app. Abakun, Services Bebre, New Crystal Hospital, growing in good health. Sulas Enterprise, where quality meets affordability. Water Aid Ghana, change starts with water. Ghana Chamber of Mines.
and you can catch a playback of that interaction with Farouk Al-Wahab on all of our social media handles. It's at Joy News on TV. Thanks for your time. We'll see you again next time. Until then, log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. Bye for now.
Every day we move through our cities, fighting traffic, chasing time, and trying to make a living. But what if our cities worked better for us? Joy News, together with the amalgam of professional bodies, brings you a conversation that speaks to everyday life. Centers of prosperity at the center of the world. A closer look at how better city management can drive economic growth. Join the main speaker, David Ofosudote, as he breaks down what's not working and what must change. Wednesday, 6th May 2026 at 5 p.m. Live on Joy News and all our social media platforms. Better cities don't happen by chance. They are planned.
Right after school, you will have to go and sell plantain, cassava. Sometimes you fry pastries, what we call ariesu or banfo bese. It was a very big dream of mine. I did try, but I was not selected. Maybe I wasn't tall enough. 2 years after the national service, and that is where